Hi, well, welcome to a subscriber update. Unfortunately, ever since we started having global warming and everything, and the winters have gone from being snowy winters to, well, for lack of a better term, hurricane winds. Um, yeah, let's walk you around the damage from last night. So, we've been cleaning up around everything, and our high-strength tarp here has really started to take damage and started to show holes going through. But that's not the worst of it. The worst of it is over in here. The area got entirely trashed by the wind. All of this was up in here. And I don't think these are supposed to have portals. The entire tarp is half torn down, and luckily we managed to go and get the white out of here before all of this happened, because it would have sucked to have this come down and smash out the hydraulics. We'll talk about where the white is in just a little bit. Over here, a friend of ours ended up giving us a Harbor Freight tent that you guys saw on the back of my pickup truck. And as you can see, the whole entire thing, even with 80 pounds, well, 80 times 2 is 160, so each corner of this had 160 pounds on it. It picked it up and it threw it about 3 feet that direction. Luckily, it didn't seem to do any damage to the snowblower assembly that was in here. And this was actually up against the wall right here, so the wall is now all the way over here. That corner there was actually in this corner. So this whole tent got picked up and thrown this direction with the wind. This table was on that back wall. That whole entire thing got thrown. You know, this was sitting inside the tent. All of it got thrown over. So we'll have to go down through and see what we can come up with. I'm figuring at this point I'll weld up some anchors and I'll drive them in and hopefully make it through the permafrost. That's the reason this didn't have anchors, is I set it up too late and there was permafrost. I think what I'm going to do is take a concrete drill and just drill down through and then drive stakes down through the concrete drill holes and go from there. Just a 5-second afterthought and just showing you guys, this is a hospital bed that I got for free from a nursing home. And what I did was I took all the linear actuators out and I just bolted it directly solid. And then I went through and I drilled out holes big enough for the drive shaft coming out of the bottom of these engines. So that way I can just plop them down in and work on them, pull parts off of them, and whatever needs to be done. These tables are rated for about 600 pounds. So as long as I'm not overloading it with a bunch of V-twins and opposed twins, I should be fine. But we'll see. I got 5 or 6 to put on there.
I'm going to talk about the one that plopped off.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the wind apparently threw that one on the ground. Luckily, that's just a parts engine. That was up here on this, next to that one. So, windy weather learning experience that Jesse apparently is getting way too much of a kick out of. I had a nice beach umbrella over the top of this. I had the rod going down through, covering this entire thing so that it wouldn't get covered with ice and snow in between stuff. And Jesse just found it. So it was right here like this where my hand is. And now, how in the world it got over there, I have no idea.
And it's all shredded.
So it somehow made it between this, and it's a 8-foot wide umbrella. Well, I guess I'm not using that anymore. That was a bad idea on my part, wasn't it, honey? Yep.
It's okay, it was ugly.
It was ugly. Okay. Yeah, that's how women decide something needs to get thrown out, is it's ugly, right?
No, not my fault.
And would you like to do an update on your chickens?
Sure.
Hi, let's go see your chickens. So we'll go see whether the chickens survived the windstorm and everything. Well, we're right here. Luckily, we didn't drop any trees or anything on the horde. And looks as if the transmission hutch ended up holding up fine. And the firewood apparently is doing okay. It didn't get knocked down or anything. So, well, I got knocked down a little. Not too bad. Jessie did most of the firewood this year, so a big thank you to her. We'll go see how they're doing. Well, there's still 6 of them, so I guess nobody got blown away in the wind.
Oh, goodness.
But
And that's still there. That didn't go anywhere.
yep, so we still got some work to do on this in the spring and get it all caught back up. Bark, bark, bark. So we redid the door on the front. As you guys know, it was pretty darn shabby. And got that all done up. And let's see here. And the inside is all packed in, ready for winter. Put down some extra stuff.
Yeah. 3 eggs.
3 eggs today.
And Americana egg.
And a green one.
Americana egg.
Americana. Oh, who's meowing at us? Hi, Ella. Ella, are you mouthy? Ella, shut up. Shut up. Nobody likes you. Are you sure? Well, we'll come down here and check on John's little mini garage, as he calls it. It doesn't look like it moved at all in the really high winds, so that's good. I'm pretty sure if I hadn't have screwed that down, though, I bet we probably would be finding it knocked over. But that seems to have done good. He's decided he wants to paint it barn red. So at some point in the spring, we'll pick up some barn red. It's getting too cold to be able to paint outside this time of year. So unfortunately, that's on hold. We are going to pick up some hinges in order to be able to do the front door on it. And we're just going to make it so that they fold out like that. And he wants to take some of that rock and make a little driveway-ish type idea right here. And I think that'll be cool. I think that'll do good. This is something new to the channel you guys haven't seen. This is some ductwork that came out of a large trailer home. And so we're going to take this and we're going to put it in the garage because it was free. I just had to rip it out of the floor. And there's about 70 feet worth here. So I think that should easily work considering the garage is only about 30 feet long. So my goal is to take it and put one run down the working side of the garage and then another run over that drops down over the primary workbench area where I do most of my metal cutting and stuff. So up here, I've tarped off most of this, and I know it looks pretty ghetto, but there is a reason. If I come over here and I drop in underneath.
We tarped it.
Yeah, we tarped it. Jessie helped me. So up in here, it gave me an area to clean out and put all the woodworking. So we ended up with this giant TV cabinet for free. So what I did was I cut a slot in it so that the table saw would drop in. And then we got this chop saw that actually still has the auction ticket on it. We went to an auction and I saw this chop saw and I saw this Diablo blade on it that was almost brand spanking new, it cuts perfectly, and said, well, if it stays under the $25 that the Diablo blade is worth, I'll bid on it. Sure enough, I got it for 25 bucks, and it cuts beautifully. And yes, I know it has no safeties. It's amazing what you can do to stop from cutting your fingers off if you think a little bit. So we've got this work area here, and all the woodworking stuff is up here so that we can be able to start working on getting into the house and doing some work on that this year. And it's been a long ways. COVID ended up delaying a lot of stuff, but at least at this point, we're getting there. Oh, on a side note, so up in underneath here, I've got all of these lights, and I love them. And they're professional grade work utility lights and everything that have LED bulbs. But if you're looking to do it on a budget, after Christmas, a lot of times you can find people trying to get rid of these 3 or 4 bulb in series, whatever type things that they put out on the yard. And you'll find them liquidated on clearance in Home Depot and Lowe's and places like that. So I always watch for these, and I pick them up really cheap, and I put whatever the cheapest Dollar General LED bulbs are that I can find. And then that way, if I need a light underneath a vehicle, I just chuck it underneath there, and I don't care if I end up crushing it. The lift is doing really good. I used it the other day in 40-degree temperatures outside, and it had dropped to 30 or so at night, and it still lifted the Ranger, never flinched at all, and worked perfectly fine. Alright, so let's talk about the positive note on this subscriber update. John, me, and Jesse have been cleaning like mad hatters in the garage. As you guys know, Thanksgiving Day is when I always release what my winter projects are going to be. We've actually got several coming up this year. So I figured you guys would want to see the garage after we cleaned it all out. Not all the projects are actually in the garage. There's still some sorting out to do, but we'll talk about what is in here a little bit. And for those who like to ask, the cat door works amazing because I bought one that had a magnet. And so it stays up there as long as you open the door slowly. As you can see. So we're going to be working on the white tractor. I didn't get rid of it. I know once you saw it out from underneath that tent, you all probably freaked. It's right here. We're going to go and do I think we're going to word it as a resto mod. We're going to put a little bit of new with a little bit of old, and we're going to see if we can get this thing going. Plus, I picked up a plow for it, which we're going to have to retrofit. But that'll be a couple of videos coming up over on Redneck Computer Geek. I'm not willing to talk about what this is yet, but this will be another build coming up on Redneck Computer Geek. And I guarantee you can't guess what we're going to try and build. This was John's contribution to filling up my garage with stuff. This is what he wants to work on this winter. You guys can guess a little bit on what's going to happen here. But this is John's project. Just so you guys know, this will be on Redneck Computer Geek. But it is going to be an as John feels like working on it. It's his first major project he's ever wanted to really do himself. So it's going to be at whatever his pace is. So feel free to follow the build, but do remember that the person in charge of the timeline is 8 years old. Now, you might notice that I didn't say anything about RCG Racing. That's because currently the white tractor is sitting in the location of where the RCG Racing project is going to be. There will be projects on RCG Racing, including one we're going to come around to in just a sec. So as you can see, this is all cleaned up for the first time in a long time. If I don't trip over this mobility scooter, I can actually walk down this side of my garage. All of the stuff that was torn off the walls, destroyed across the garage has been removed. I have literally hauled 2,000 pounds worth of scrap metal out of this garage in order to get it to this point of cleanliness. Alright, so if we come around here, if you guys saw the trashed garage video that I ended up posting with the house being trashed and everything, when we come around this way, this entire area was destroyed. Everything was torn apart. Everything was all over the place. We've now got all of this pulled out and removed. We're able to get to the Monte Carlo at this point. I'll be starting on this probably sometime in January. I know a lot of you are chomping at the bit to see this. The problem is I got 10 years worth of alcoholism to sort out. I literally do not remember where most of the parts are in this section of garage, and I have had to go and play hide and seek with all of the parts. I am finding most of them. So we will start putting this back together because I don't remember tearing it apart. The wall across here, all of this is getting torn down, or at least torn off or removed, because all of this entire sidewall, by the time about 2 weeks into December hits, will be insulated down through. I'm not going to be able to do the back wall to the garage because it's just plain too cluttered, but it'll be all insulated and done. To finish out this video, I know a bunch of you are chomping at the bit to go and see a how-to or a discussion video on this. I will make sure to post one soon. I have had this significantly up and running, powering everything that I do for about a month and a half now. So the 60-gallon hot water tank air compressor is working amazing. I just like to run projects like this for a good solid 2 months before I release the video because I want to make sure everything is right for you guys. Thank you for following us. Thank you for subscribing. And thank you for the comments down below. I love hearing about everybody's opinions. Have at it, guys.